Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Yes, I'm running a little late. I already downloaded another video this morning, Tuesday morning, and it's from yesterday. The video that I've already downloaded, it's a very relatable video. For all the people out there, the people that have driven on our highways and roads, if you have a driver's license and you drive, I'm sure you can relate to this. Do you ever have anybody fly by you doing like 110 miles an hour on the highway, or ride right on your bumper, or swerve in and out of traffic? And did you ever say to yourself, man, something bad, that guy is going to end up in an accident? I'm sure everybody has said that. Well, that happened to me, a motorcyclist riding right on my back bumper. And then about 6 hours later, I saw a news report and watched the video. I don't know if it's karma or coincidence, but it made me think twice. Initially, I almost wanted to wish something bad on this person, and then something bad might have happened to this person, and it was a learning moment. Let's just say that. All right, today's video, I wasn't even going to talk about this. Donald Trump talking about where Biden was seated during the Queen's funeral. This is the exact reason why I can't stand this guy. To me, he is an embarrassment. He taunted Joe Biden for sitting in the 14th row at the Queen's funeral. All right, I don't even know where to start with this. First of all, I read the reasons why Biden ended up sitting in the 14th row. It had something to do with he got a special dispensation that none of the other leaders got concerning public transit, and it led to him getting there a little later. I think it was for his own safety, and it led to him getting there a little later. So he ended up seated in the 14th row between the leader of Switzerland and Bulgaria. So Trump goes on to say, well, this is an example of America's downfall. If he was president, he would have been seated right up in the front. This would have never happened if he was president, because he's important, and America's important, the greatest country in the world, and we would have been sitting right in the front row. This is the reason Trump is an embarrassment to me, to this country, to a lot of people. This reminds me of the incident, I've talked about this before, I think it was G7 summit, where he pushed it, the cameras were on this side, and then they went to the other cameras on the other side of the room, and Trump literally hurried up and pushed his way through the leaders, pushed the leaders out of the way, got right in front of the camera, and straightened his tie. That was one of the most embarrassing things I have ever seen as an American citizen. One of the most, I never remember being more embarrassed of being an American than watching that on TV. Now, let's talk about this. The Queen's funeral. Again, this is it. First of all, it's not a concert. It's not a movie. What is there to see? Why, what is the difference between sitting in the 14th row or the front row? It's all about how he would look, how America would appear. It has nothing to do with being able to see more or any kind of other benefit other than Trump's own personal arrogance. It reminds me of, I'm 6'4", and through my entire life, a lot of time I found that being in the front is not the best thing. Like, when I go I go shopping, and I take whatever I had and went up to the cash registers, and say there's about 20 cash registers across the front, like a Walmart, and there's people at each line, 10 people in each line, and I am usually like this much taller. I look this way, I am about a head taller than everybody else, so I stick out. My whole life has been like this, and it gets to the point where you don't want to stick out. I remember going to a Doobie Brothers concert at a theater, the Palace Theater in Waterbury, Connecticut. And I was right in the front, right in the first, second row. And after the concert, people came up to me. And people I didn't know, like at least five different people as I was walking my car. Hey, I saw you in the front. You were wearing this. You did this during the second song. You really got into it here. Hey, you didn't look like you liked that song over here. And sitting in the front isn't always a good thing, especially at this. This was about the Queen. This was about honoring the Queen, her life and her death. It had nothing to do with Trump. It had nothing to do with the United States. It had nothing to do with Biden. when you're in the front like that, you tend to take up a lot of the attention, like I did at that concert. And when you overshadow the main act, it's never a good thing, because people aren't there to see you, but you end up getting their attention, just like me at that Doobie Brothers concert. And whatever you do, people seem like they get annoyed by it. Like, they're watching, they're critiquing you because, and I think they're distracted, and they're almost annoyed by the fact that you're distracting them. This is one of the reasons why I've never understood, be like something like this, or sitting in the front of the bus as opposed to the back of the bus. Why one is somehow better than the other. And Trump used this to say that this is America's downfall. If he was president, he would have been sitting in the front. I wonder what the people of England think when they hear Donald Trump say that. This was, like I said, this was about honoring the Queen, and just that. It had nothing to do with Joe Biden or Donald Trump or America or anything of that sort. So where anybody sat is of no consequence to anyone except somebody with a big ego. This is like I said, this is exactly one of the reasons why Donald Trump is an embarrassment to the United States. And then another thing that passed through my head, like I said, Biden ended up sitting between the leader of Switzerland, Bulgaria, and some other country. And Trump made a wise remark saying, well, at least Biden would get to know third world leaders. So at the same time, he actually insulted Bulgaria, Switzerland, and all the other countries sitting around Joe Biden. To me, there's no benefit to doing that. There's no benefit to arrogance, to blatant arrogance. Like I said, when he pushed himself past those other world leaders, I do believe in karma. I do believe, little things like that end up biting you in the end. When inevitably down the road, those same people you insult or belittle are going to be important sometime in your life down the road. Karma. And again, this wasn't a concert. This wasn't a movie theater. It was a funeral. There's no reason to be sitting in the front row. There's no benefit to that. In my opinion, it's the opposite, because then you overshadow when you're sitting in the front row like that, and you get people's attention, unwarranted attention. It brings a lot of criticism because people don't want to be distracted. They're there to see the Queen, not to see the President of the United States. This is exactly why I can't stand Donald Trump, and I think he's an embarrassment to the United States. I know he's an embarrassment to the United States. All right, you guys have a good Tuesday.